Hello and welcome to Legal Basics with Cyro Law Global, and my name is Sian. Today I looked for soft colors to declare that I come in peace because today's episode near violence. I know we're gonna find. So, historians do not agree on what is the second profession in the world. Some say it's politics, some say it is law. Well, I am biased, so I think it's law. However, historians have never argued about the oldest profession in the world. They all agree that it is commercial sex work. Some call it prostitution. So on today's episode, I'm joined by a friend of mine who we actually think met last in high school. Yeah. And the reason why I invited her, she's not a lawyer, but the reason why I invited her is because I saw her engagement on social media regarding this topic and why commercial sex work is work. Yes. And because we're doing the labor law series, we wanted to look at the labor issues in this particular industry. I will let her introduce herself.
Yeah, thank you, Sian, for having me. So my name is Elizabeth Murege. I'm a professional in the hospitality industry, but currently I'm working as a copywriter, freelance copywriter with various lead generation and affiliate marketing companies in the iGaming industry. So iGaming basically entails anything to do with online gambling, that is online sports betting, online casinos, lotteries, and bingo. And above all, I am a feminist and a strong advocate of equal rights and social justice. And I believe that is why you invited me here today. So
for sure. I find her ideas very refreshing. So I know you're not a lawyer, but I'm sure you know the legal underpinnings in this industry. Yeah. What is the legal climate for commercial sex work in Kenya?
Actually, commercial sex work, or what we call prostitution, or the oldest profession, is a gray area in Kenya because it is not explicitly legalized, nor does the constitution say that this is explicitly illegal. So it's a gray area, and as it is right now, okay, so sex workers, it is not illegal to offer your services as a sex worker, but it is illegal for anyone or for third parties to live off the proceeds of prostitution. So that means that it's illegal to own a brothel, brothel keeping and pimping. Yeah, and the law also says that it's illegal to solicit for sex. Yeah, so loitering, importuning, and soliciting for sex or indecent exposure, they are all illegal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have in a previous broadcast, we've dealt with outsourcing. Okay. Where it's a different employment situation where you have an employer, you have a contractor, and then you have the person that actually does the job. Oh, yeah. So in this situation, the person that is running a brothel is classically a contractor.
Yeah.
Because they maybe have this building and then they get the customer and then they get the person that works. Yeah. Now, in a country where we don't have any real legislation around the workers in such an industry, what are they exposed to?
Sex workers face a lot of risks in countries where the industry is not regulated, because the one risk that they face is that they are exploited by the brothel keepers, because the brothel keeper will get the clients, and some of them actually negotiate the terms with the clients, and then the sex worker who offers the services is paid a cut of the money that the brothel keeper gets from the client. And then we also have the issue of violence against sex workers. So this can happen in the brothels, but mostly the people who are targeted by violent men, I will say, because the violence against sex workers mostly happens to female sex workers.
Because females are naturally weaker.
Yeah, compared to men. Yeah. So you find that they are exposed to a lot of violence. Some of them get killed. I was looking at statistics and I saw that in places like Colorado, like the chances of a sex worker getting killed are 18% or are 18 times higher than the chances of like any other woman getting killed. So they are exposed to violence, and then there is the issue of not being able to negotiate for protection with their clients, because it is something that you cannot take somebody to court because they refuse to use protection.
Yeah.
And also you cannot outrightly refuse to offer your services to someone when they refuse to use a condom. So
Okay.
there are those, there are a lot of risks.
All right. I think there's also the assumption that commercial sex workers are all female.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that?
Yes, actually, the funny thing is that when you mention prostitution, people, the first thing that comes into mind is that a sex worker is, or a prostitute is a woman. But we have men who are in the sex trade, in the sex industry. So they offer their services to gay men, or to
Even to women. They're called
or even
gigolos.
to women. And then we also have trans people doing sex work. So it is not an occupation that is only reserved for women.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
And there's countries that have outright laws that first of all recognize
sex
sex
work
as work. And then and then once now they recognize it, then they're able to regulate it. Because now in Kenya, when we don't recognize it as a legitimate form of work, then we're unable to regulate. So what are some of the advantages for workers in this industry in countries that have acknowledged this as a legitimate form of work?
Okay, to start with, I will say that sex work is actually recognized as work under the by the International Labour Organization, which falls under the United Nations. And we have countries like, I will start with Germany, where sex work is legal and it is regulated. So you find that if you want to get into the profession, you have to register with the regulator, and then you get a certificate. I think it runs for 2 years. And if you are under 21 years, then you only get the license for a year. So from there, you can join a brothel. So there is that element of organizing. You can belong to an organization.
Freelance,
you can be freelance.
Or you can be through an agency.
Through an agency. So you join an agency. And now what happens in Germany, where now after getting your license, is that you are entitled to benefits. Or like when you decide that you want to retire from the profession, there are those social benefits that you are entitled to. It is pensionable. And we also have countries like Greece, where sex workers sex work is recognized as an occupation. So in Greece, sex workers in Greece also get licenses, and they are subjected to tests,
which protects them and their customers.
Which protects them and their customers. So you find that after every 2 weeks, you're supposed to do a test for STIs, and after every 3 months, you're also supposed to do a test for HIV. And what happens in Greece is that the people who get the certificate, first of all, they don't allow married women to join the profession legally, and also you have to be above 21 years to work in the industry. So that means that you won't have children being prostituted.
Okay. Online, as people have been having this conversation, I think around May, there was a lot of conversation around sex work. Of course, the people who discuss this, most of them take very hardline stands. I've seen now the ones that say, no, we can't legislate it because it is immoral. I've seen others who say, a person in that kind of field does not need any benefits. I've seen the ones who say, we as a country cannot stoop that low. But whether we have a law or not, do we have brothels?
We do have brothels. Because when you look at Kenya, they are brothels, although they won't explicitly advertise themselves as brothels. We have the spas, and you find that the call girls who work in those spas, there is this thing where they say that they offer happy endings. Happy endings is basically sex after a massage.
Or a sexual activity.
A sexual activity after a massage. So we have,
and this is a form of commercial sex work, right?
Now,
some of the arguments I've seen online are, first of all, to say that sex work is immoral. I'm one of those people that say, in a country where fornication is not illegal,
Yeah, and adultery.
and adultery,
Yeah.
why would it be moral to fornicate for free,
Yeah.
and then immoral
Immoral,
to
yeah,
fornicate
to
for money?
charge.
Because in any case, people fornicate for resources all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, this whole culture of kukula fair.
Yeah,
It
and
is
tokenism.
in
Yeah,
tokenism,
tokenism.
yeah.
Because when you go to not Instagram, Telegram. Yeah, when you go to Telegram, there is this thing of people offering their services, such services, or they might call it companionship or whatever they call it, but at the end of the day, there is a token. Yeah, there is a token stated. So that is basically sex work, because you're offering you're offering yourself
Yeah.
for sex in exchange for money or a gift or whatever you call it, a token. So that is basically sex work.
Actually, okay, now that you mention it, as you said, even if the consideration is affection,
Yeah.
it depends with where a person comes from and how they've been socialized.
Yeah.
For me to give up the cookie, my consideration could be money.
Yes.
To another person, it could be a hug.
Yeah.
To another person, it could be a poem.
Yes.
Isn't it transactional in all those three cases?
Yes, it is transactional, because you find that even in relationships, sex is transactional, even in marriages. Yeah, and that is
I
what
know,
many
if
people
Baba
wouldn't-
Watoto does not buy roses, doesn't
Yeah.
get laid on Valentines, it's transactional.
Yes.
But
And if the man is not meeting his financial obligations, you find that the woman
Yeah.
will withhold sex.
actually,
even in marriage.
we've seen that. I'm sorry to say, but we've seen that in Nyeri,
Yeah.
where when they go and they ask these women, so why are you not doing this with your men? They say,
Yes.
but they bring nothing.
Yeah, they don't bring
all day.
anything. Yeah, they drink all day. They don't buy you food. If you're living in a rental, they don't pay rent. They don't pay school fees for the kids. So they're not getting anything. They don't get laid.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've also seen an argument where people say, why would you use your body to make money? Which is funny, because when I go to work, I use my brain and I use my hand to write notes.
Yeah.
I use my legs to walk to court.
Yes.
Somebody else uses their voice to sing.
Yeah.
Isn't that using your body for employment?
Yeah, of course it is.
So what makes it special when it's this part of the body?
When people talk about sex work, there is a lot of stigma around the issue. Yeah, it's an emotive topic, and actually, looking back, I don't remember when I was a young girl. We used to people used to ask us, what do you want to become when you grow up? Like, for sure, I never had anyone say that they want to become a prostitute
or a commercial sex worker.
Yeah, or a commercial sex worker, because it is not something that you just decide, I'm going into this profession out of fun. It's not a fun thing to do, but people do it out of necessity. Yeah, there are bills to be paid. You don't have any other alternative, or you do it out of poverty, or you're destitute. So it's not something that people do for fun, or
Well,
it's
actually,
out of necessity.
No, actually, I would actually like to disagree.
Yeah.
Like even during those online fights, people say that why would I pay you for something that you like to do?
Yeah.
They say, this sex work is between two people and you're both having a good time.
Yeah.
And then I asked them, if I went to court for a client and I came back and I said, I loved appearing for you.
Yeah.
Are they going to say, since you liked it so much, I'm not paying you legal fees? Is that possible?
No, that is not possible.
So I think it's also an assumption that people do it because they can't do something else. It could actually, as well be an option like any other thing, right?
Yeah, there are those in places where it is regulated, and because they get good money out of it. Like, I was looking at case studies in the Netherlands, or the red light district in the Netherlands, that is in Amsterdam. Those sex workers, the ones who stand at the windows, they get paid like 50 euros. per session, and a session is around 12 to 18 minutes. You get your 50 euros. So if you're working the regular 40 hours in a week, because it is regulated, you can imagine how much money those people make. So some of the women in Amsterdam might actually decide to go into it.
Okay, you see,
Yeah, because they're getting well compensated.
while this episode is not about promoting commercial sex work, it is looking at the person that has chosen this path, or as you say, they've just found themselves in that situation.
Yes.
And they go to work like any other person. They, if a person goes to wash clothes, or a person goes to a law firm, or a person goes to a hospital, they also go to work.
Yes.
But now in their industry, they don't have minimum wage. They don't get to regulate the terms of employment, and they cannot go to court to go after any social services. They don't get pension.
Yeah, they don't get pension. You also cannot sue when you're exploited. Yeah.
So because this platform looks at the law as it is, and it also looks at the opportunities for legislative reform. If the country was able to regulate this industry, what are some of the things that would be beneficial to the sex worker and give them the same rights as any other kind of worker?
Okay, so to begin with, if the industry was, I will call it the industry, if we legalize the industry here in Kenya, the first thing is that it would, legalization would take away the social stigma around prostitution, because prostitutes or commercial sex workers are very, they are discriminated against. There is a lot of stigma. Yeah, so they have to deal with the stigma because the society looks at them as bad people, as immoral people, people who shouldn't exist in a society. But you see, when you're talking about human rights, we should first look at the sex worker as a human being who deserves to be respected.
Sure.
Yeah, irrespective of what they do for a living, they should be respected. So that is the first thing that legalizing and regulating sex work would do. It would take away the stigma from the sex workers and allow them to be considered as members of the society who are earning a living, I would say, honestly.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they're not robbing
stealing.
people. Yeah, they're not
They've
stealing.
Not
it is consensual. Yeah, they are adults. It is consensual.
Yeah.
And they agree on the terms with their clients. Yeah, so they earn an honest living. And then again, the other thing it would do is that it would allow the sex workers to be able to to
go after their labor rights.
Yeah, to go after their labor rights, because they wouldn't be exploited by the brothel keepers, and also they would be able to demand for compensation from their clients, because currently as it is, you cannot go to sue somebody in court because they refuse to pay you after sleeping with you
or give you a disease.
Yeah. So they would also be in a position to seek for medical services and also to report to the authorities when they are violated.
And to have, fair compensation for fair work.
Yeah, fair compensation for their work. Yes.
I know this one will bring violence, but we are ready. Write to us. I know people will want to reach you and maybe just give you a write-up of feelings, but I know you're ready. So how can they reach you?
Of course, they can reach me through you. Yeah. So I will outsource that from you.
I've been hired in this series, man.
Yeah.
All right, you can reach me at info@cyroglobal.com. That's info@cyroglobal.com. You can also reach us through our old Gmail address. That is cyrologlobal@gmail.com. I know there will be a lot to say about this. Please, we want to hear all of it. This is a very healthy social conversation. And I think it's important for people to discuss these things, because if we don't discuss them, they're still there, right?
Yeah, and it's about time.
Yeah. We would like to say thanks to our videography crew. That's Mushiri Frames. They will display their address on the screen. And to J.O. Juma Advocates for facilitating the shooting of this series. Keep well, choose good professions that pay you well. And bye-bye.